Have you ever wondered why a simple muscle twitch, a restless night, or a strange tingling in your fingers could be more than just fatigue? Nature doesn't waste effort. Every signal your body sends has meaning, and when those signals whisper of low calcium, they are not random. They are warnings written in the language of life itself. When we speak of calcium, most people think only of bones and teeth, of the skeletal frame that holds us upright. But that view is incomplete, and dangerously so. Calcium is not a mineral of vanity or structure alone. It is a mineral of life. Every heartbeat, every nerve impulse, every movement of a muscle fiber depends on its presence. The human body stores it like treasure in its bones, but it spends it moment by moment in the silent chemistry of survival. When that balance tips, when calcium runs low, the body begins to send warnings, and those warnings, if ignored, can lead to profound consequence. Now, the first signal is subtle, a tingling at the fingertips, perhaps a twitch in the face or leg. It may seem like nothing, a passing nuisance, but biology rarely whispers without reason. That tingling is a quiet alarm. It tells you that nerve transmission is faltering, that calcium, the conductor of those electric signals, is in short supply. Then come muscle cramps, painful, sudden, unprovoked, the kind that seize you at night and make you question what went wrong. In truth, it's not chance. It's chemistry misfiring, the orchestra of muscles playing without its lead note. The skin, hair, and nails follow next. Nails become brittle, hair loses its vitality, skin turns dry and dull. These are not merely cosmetic defects. They are reflections of an internal imbalance. The body, unable to maintain its cellular integrity, starts to borrow calcium from the bones, an emergency loan that cannot last. If this continues unchecked, bones thin, become porous, and ultimately fracture under ordinary pressure. This is how low calcium translates from invisible deficiency to visible decay. But there is another set of signs, often overlooked. Changes in mood, fatigue, even anxiety. These are not coincidences. Calcium also regulates the release of neurotransmitters, the messengers of the brain. When calcium falters, so too does mental equilibrium. You may find yourself irritable, tired, unable to focus. And sometimes, when the heart's rhythm stumbles, it's not emotion at fault, but physiology. Low calcium disrupts the very beat that sustains life. So what then should one do? The answer is neither panic nor indifference, but awareness. Get your levels tested. Look at your diet with the eyes of reason. Green vegetables, almonds, fortified foods, dairy. These are not old wives' tales. They are nature's design. Support calcium with vitamin D, for one without the other is like sunlight without warmth. Avoid the habits that steal calcium, excessive caffeine, alcohol, or neglect of rest. Science has already given us the knowledge. All that remains is the will to use it. When you begin to see your body not as a collection of parts, but as an intelligent system that warns before it breaks, you will understand the elegance of prevention. That understanding, that reverence for the signals within, is the very essence of health. Calcium is, there is a quiet intelligence within the human body, a design so deliberate, so intricate, that it rarely fails without first sending a message. When calcium levels drop, that intelligence does not hide the truth. It speaks in symptoms. But the tragedy is that most of us have forgotten how to listen. We treat fatigue as normal, numbness as coincidence, and brittle bones as fate. Yet beneath all of these lies a single, unifying thread: the silent deficiency of calcium, the mineral that holds the body's harmony together. Calcium is more than a building block, it is a messenger of order. In every heartbeat, in every nerve impulse, it carries the signal that life is still being conducted. When it runs low, chaos begins to infiltrate. The muscles stiffen, the heart falters, the mind feels clouded, and still most people do not act because the signs are not dramatic enough. The body does not scream, it whispers. A twinge here, a restless night there, tingling fingers, trembling lips, a heart that skips. These are not isolated events. They are chapters of a story that must be read before it reaches its final page. You see, nature does not create waste. When the body begins to borrow calcium from its bones to keep blood levels stable, it is not failing, it is adapting. It is trying to keep you alive. But adaptation has limits. When bones are robbed too long, they become brittle, fragile, ready to fracture at the smallest fall. That is not age, as many believe. That is biology reacting to neglect, and neglect, unlike disease, is entirely preventable. It is here that reason must replace routine. Awareness must replace assumption. Calcium deficiency is not solved by slogans or by chance. It requires deliberate correction in diet, in sunlight, exposure, in lifestyle. Eat with purpose leafy greens, seeds, almonds, fish with soft bones. Seek out vitamin D, for without it calcium remains a locked door. Move your body weight. Bearing exercise tells your bones to stay strong. Do not rely solely on pills or powders. Science serves best when coupled with wisdom. The warning signs of low calcium should never be dismissed as minor discomforts. They are the early dialogues of the body asking for balance. To ignore them is to turn away from the opportunity to heal before harm is done. The goal is not to live forever, but to live fully, with the strength to move, the clarity to think, the steadiness to endure. So I urge you, look closely at the small signs, for they are never small in meaning. When your body trembles, when fatigue feels heavier than usual, when your bones ache without cause, listen. Do not wait for the silence that follows the ignored warning. Science has given us the tools, awareness gives them purpose. Prevention, after all, is not an act of medicine. It is an act of wisdom. Not just in your bones, it is in your life's rhythm. Listen when it speaks. There is a profound difference between merely existing and truly understanding the forces that sustain that existence. Calcium is one of those forces, unseen, often underestimated, yet absolutely indispensable. We speak of it casually, as if it were just another nutrient among many. But calcium is not casual. It is the quiet stabilizer of life, the element that stands between rhythm and rupture. It governs the contractions of your heart, the impulses of your nerves, the firmness of your bones. When calcium begins to fall, the body does not fail instantly, it begins a conversation. And those who are wise enough to listen can prevent what others only learn to regret. The early signs of calcium deficiency are rarely dramatic. They arrive as whispers. Tingling in the lips and fingers, subtle spasms of muscles, feelings of fatigue that sleep does not cure. Some dismiss these as stress, as age, as coincidence. But biology is not random. Every symptom is a signal, every change a coded message. The problem is not that the body doesn't speak, it's that we have forgotten its language. And in that forgetfulness, disease finds its opportunity. When calcium levels stay low, the body must choose. It chooses survival over stability. To maintain the heartbeat and nerve function, it begins to draw calcium from its reserves, the bones. Over time, this borrowing becomes depletion. The skeleton weakens, the posture bends, the fractures come. Yet even before this visible decay, the unseen effects are already at work. Muscles misfire, the heartbeat loses its regularity, and the mind, dependent on stable calcium levels for neurotransmission, begins to falter. You may feel anxious, restless, or inexplicably low. These are not just moods, they are physiological echoes of imbalance. To correct this is not a matter of miracles, it is a matter of mindfulness. True health begins not in medicine, but in attention. The foods you eat, the sunlight you allow yourself, the movement you grant your body, these are the everyday choices that decide the strength of your bones and the steadiness of your heart. Nature offers balance. It is we who disturb it, and so the cure lies not in discovering something new, but in returning to something timeless, equilibrium. Calcium deficiency is not an isolated event. It is a reflection of how disconnected we have become from our own biology. Science does not ask us to fear, it asks us to observe, to test, to understand, to respond before the damage is done. When you begin to see the human body as a living equation, you realize that every imbalance has a logic, and every solution has a pattern. So I say this to you. Listen before your body has to shout. The signals of low calcium are not there to alarm you, they are there to awaken you. Because the difference between illness and health is often not fate, it is attention. And attention, my friends, is the highest form of self-preservation. Do not wait for silence to replace the body's early cries for help. Listen now, while the signs are still gentle, while the remedy is still simple, because the choice between health and harm often begins with one small decision, to pay attention. As slow, firm, the body speaks. The wise respond,